Look like Jan Jensen has confirmed what we all have been thinking. Caitlin Clark has definitely been helping the Iowa women basketball team land some of the biggest recruits in the country.
Iowa's recruiting dominance has a secret weapon, and their head coach just exposed it to the world, Caitlin Clark. In a stunningly candid interview, Jan Jensen confirmed what everyone suspected but no coach had ever dared to say out loud. The colossal shadow of Caitlin Clark is the single biggest reason they're now landing the nation's most sought-after talent. This wasn't just a coach offering praise. It was a confession of the undeniable power one player still holds over an entire program. Jensen peeled back the curtain, revealing that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't just a media buzzword, it's a tangible force actively rewriting the future of Iowa basketball. And it raises a chilling question. Is this the birth of a dynasty powered by the ghost of a player who doesn't even wear the jersey anymore?
Right?
Well, and I think for you, the challenge wasn't just taking over for Lisa Bluter, who's a legend. It was also the challenge of Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. She's not here at Iowa. So it was so many different factors. Does it feel maybe more calm now? Like more, it's truly maybe time to move forward?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. You know, it was so great to be part of that ride. And Lisa is one of my best friends and forever grateful for all the times we spent together along with Jenny Fitzgerald. We coached together all those years. And then Caitlin, I mean, her orbit continues to just, do crazy things. Even when she had a tough season of being injured, she still moves needles, right? So there was a lot in that. But I felt like I was really blessed. I have a strong faith, and it was just another challenge in a career of challenges and of rewards and blessings and tough times. But I do think that comfortability now is, every year you're farther removed, it becomes about more of the here and now.
Jan Jensen has just delivered a masterclass in authentic leadership, perfectly articulating how the Iowa Hawkeyes evolved from a consistently solid Big Ten team into a global brand. When Jensen stepped into the head coaching role, the whispers of doubt were deafening. Pundits and fans alike questioned whether Iowa could possibly sustain that electric, sold-out arena energy after Caitlin Clark's departure for the pros. But instead of dodging those questions with generic coach speak, Jensen leaned directly into the truth, openly admitting that Clark's impact wasn't just significant, it was seismic. A once-in-a-generation event that permanently altered the program's trajectory. Most coaches in her position would have rushed to pivot the conversation toward the next chapter, insisting that no individual is bigger than the institution. Jensen, however, chose a radically different path, and the story she told was absolutely captivating.
Hi, Jan.
Hey.
Scott Dockerman with The Athletic. You've always had high outreach with this program, locally, regionally, with you, Lisa, all your athletes. But since you've really captured the public's attention a couple of years ago with Caitlin Clark, you've been able to to sustain it at a broader scale. In what ways have you been able to do that and sustain it? Because now you're talking about year 3 of sellouts, and you're 2 years removed from the Caitlin Clark.
Our success here is so hugely reliant on fans, because it makes it so much fun to win with them. It makes it, with your good fans, you can kind of tolerate that tough loss because they're pushing you through. So I think there's a genuine feel for most people. But along with that, obviously there's more spotlight and there's more critical thinkers in it too. But I think that has always been part of it. And I think our staff, my staff is awesome. We all really are like-minded, and we really want to have the experience for our young women be a great one. And I think that when you work that hard to really have each player in your team, even the ones that don't get in the game but want them to experience this, I think that's why that joy is evident. So I think that's why, but I guess you should probably ask some of the longtime season tickets.
During her now famous Media Day appearance, Jan Jensen's comments went far beyond praising Caitlin Clark's on-court brilliance. She painted a much grander picture of influence, one that extended into the very architecture of college basketball itself. Jensen drew a direct, unassailable line between the Big Ten's national expansion and the phenomenon of the Caitlin Clark era, pointing out that, as the conference's footprint grew, it was Clark who became the main attraction, the gravitational force that compelled television networks to prioritize Iowa games. This wasn't a casual observation. It was a strategic admission. Clark didn't just win basketball games. She single-handedly built a media empire around the Hawkeyes, shining a spotlight so powerful that it illuminated the high-caliber program and winning culture Jensen and her staff had been quietly constructing for years. The world was finally watching, and what they saw changed the sport forever.
Is letting the world know that Caitlin Clark played a pivotal role in them landing some of these big-name athletes that we're seeing today.
The raw numbers behind this surge in attention are almost difficult to comprehend. During Clark's final season, viewership for women's college basketball didn't just increase. It shattered long-standing records, often outdrawing major men's sporting events. Games that would once have been buried on obscure cable channels became primetime spectacles on major networks, turning regular season contests into national events and tournament games into cultural touchstones that captivated millions. But the impact was also financial. The university saw a massive boom in merchandise sales, donations, and brand recognition. This revolution, with Iowa at its epicenter, generated a level of revenue and visibility for the women's program that was previously unimaginable. That unprecedented exposure had a powerful, tangible effect that is now shaking the very foundations of college basketball recruiting. For decades, the nation's top-tier talent predictably flocked to a handful of traditional powerhouses on the coasts. That era is over. In 2024, Iowa shocked the recruiting world by landing Addie Deal, a highly touted prospect from the talent-rich fields of California. This year, they've already secured another five-star phenom, McKenna Wiersbicki, also from California and ranked 6th in the entire nation. The best young players in the country are no longer just looking at the traditional blue bloods, they're looking at Iowa City. This isn't a fluke. It's a direct consequence of the Caitlin Clark effect. And the story doesn't end with a few high-profile signings. The momentum is now building on its own, creating a powerful, self-perpetuating cycle. Wiersbicki isn't just coming to Iowa to fit in, she's coming to build and lead. She has already publicly stated that she is actively recruiting another five-star star, Addison Bjorn, the undisputed #1 player out of Missouri. This is precisely how a recruiting pipeline evolves into a potential dynasty, when your newly committed stars become your most passionate and effective recruiters, selling a vision that was forged by the legend who came before them. This organic, player-led recruitment is creating a force that threatens to permanently disrupt the old guard. But what exactly is the vision they're selling? Jensen herself provided the answer with striking clarity. She admitted that Iowa's newfound appeal wasn't just about the impressive win-loss record, it was about the style. Clark was the face of a brand of basketball that was exhilaratingly fast, unapologetically creative, and undeniably fun to watch. It was a high-octane offense built on incredible court vision, precision ball movement, and palpable team chemistry. Recruits aren't just seeing a program that wins, they're seeing a system where individual brilliance can flourish within a team concept. They are chasing an identity and an atmosphere that Clark made globally famous. This is where Jan Jensen and her staff have demonstrated their strategic brilliance. They weren't just passive beneficiaries riding the massive Caitlin wave. While Clark was delivering historic 40-point masterpieces night after night, the coaching staff was meticulously playing the long game. They were deep in the trenches, securing verbal commitments, strengthening relationships with local talent, and strategically planning for a future without their superstar. They astutely understood that the intense spotlight Clark created was a finite golden opportunity, a window to build something sustainable that would long outlast her time in Iowa City. It was a masterful strategy. Openly celebrate the legacy of your star while simultaneously using it as fuel for the next generation. Even now, with Clark competing in the WNBA, her impact on Iowa's recruiting remains as potent as ever. Her name is a constant, unavoidable presence in sports headlines. Her college highlights continue to generate millions of views, and young girls across the nation still wear her number 22 jersey as a symbol of inspiration. When recruits and their families talk about why they chose Iowa, Clark's name is almost always the first one mentioned. She created a tangible blueprint for success, proving that a player from the Midwest could become a national icon and fundamentally change her sport. That powerful legacy is now, without question, Iowa's most effective recruiting tool. This phenomenon transcends simple recruiting tactics. It delves into the powerful realm of inspiration. Players like McKenna Wiersbicki and Addison Bjorn are part of a generation that grew up not just watching, but studying Caitlin Clark as she defied expectations and lit up the biggest stages. They saw her not merely as a great athlete, but as a genuine cultural force who handled immense pressure with grace. For this new wave of talent, Iowa isn't just another college. It's the sacred ground where a legend was made. They aren't just chasing a scholarship. They're chasing the extraordinary chance to become the next chapter in a story that captivated the entire nation. One of the most profound and telling lines from Jensen's interview was this: "The story wasn't just Caitlin. It became about the others on the team." This simple statement reveals the secret ingredient to Iowa's on-court magic. Clark's immense talent didn't foster jealousy or resentment among her teammates. It created unprecedented opportunities for everyone. Her incredible gravitational pull drew defenders, which in turn created open looks and chances for others to shine. Teammates like Monica Cesarano, Kate Martin, and Gabby Marshall became household names because they shared that spotlight and excelled in their roles. That selfless, winning chemistry cannot be faked, and it's a massive draw for recruits who want to be part of a true team, not just a one-woman show. The timing of Jensen's candid praise makes it even more impactful and relevant. While the WNBA seems caught in a perpetual storm of controversy, with endless debates about physicality, officiating, and how the league is handling its newfound attention, Iowa presents a completely different and more harmonious picture. Jensen's genuine and unwavering respect for her former player stands in stark contrast to the often conflicted narratives swirling at the professional level. She showed the world that you can celebrate a transcendent star without politics or jealousy, proving that a rising tide can and should lift all boats. It's a powerful lesson in leadership, one that has not gone unnoticed by recruits or their families. Make no mistake, this is not a program in a rebuilding phase. Most athletic teams would naturally enter a period of decline after losing a player of Clark's historic caliber, but Iowa isn't fading into the background. They are aggressively reloading with a formidable string of five-star recruits lining up to wear the black and gold. The Hawkeyes are strategically positioning themselves not just to remain competitive, but to dominate for years to come. They are methodically building a new powerhouse, one that threatens to permanently upend the traditional hierarchy of women's college basketball. The era of Iowa basketball didn't end with Caitlin Clark. It may have just begun. What Caitlin Clark ultimately gave the University of Iowa was something far more valuable than just wins and exposure. She gave them a powerful and distinct identity. When recruits visit the campus in Iowa City now, they see more than just a state-of-the-art gym and championship banners. They see a living, breathing culture of fearless, fast-paced, and wildly creative basketball. They see tangible proof of what's possible when a program fully empowers its players to be themselves. That is the new, unmistakable brand of Iowa basketball, a brand forged in the intense fire of sold-out arenas and record-shattering performances. And it's that powerful identity that will continue to attract the best of the best. It's crucial to understand the power dynamic now at play. When a five-star recruit from a state like California publicly declares that she wants to be the next Caitlin Clark, she's not just offering a compliment to a former player. She's providing the ultimate validation for an entire program and its coaching staff. She's effectively telling the world that she believes Iowa is the premier destination where greatness can be cultivated and achieved. That kind of external validation is priceless. It can't be bought with marketing dollars or fancy facilities. It's earned through legendary performance. And while some in the professional ranks still seem to struggle with how to properly acknowledge Clark's impact, back in Iowa, her legend continues to grow, watering the seeds of the next Hawkeye dynasty. So, as Jan Jensen masterfully builds upon the rock-solid foundation that Caitlin Clark laid, one has to seriously wonder if we are witnessing the dawn of a new enduring dynasty. All the essential pieces are now in place. A visionary and authentic head coach, a rapidly growing pipeline of elite national talent, and the lingering, powerful legacy of a once-in-a-generation player. Jensen isn't trying to escape the Clark era or move past it. She's intelligently and strategically using it as a launchpad for what comes next. What happens in Iowa City over the next few seasons could permanently alter the landscape of women's basketball. The defining question is no longer if Iowa can survive without Caitlin Clark, but rather how high they can fly with her legacy as their wings. However, this golden era comes with a heavy burden. Every recruit who now chooses Iowa, especially high-profile guards, will inevitably be compared to Clark. They will step onto the court at Carver Hawkeye Arena not just with the pressure to win, but with the weight of succeeding a legend. This creates an intense psychological challenge. Can these young athletes handle the constant comparisons from fans and media? Jensen's next great test will not just be coaching X's and O's, but managing the immense expectations placed upon these teenagers, ensuring they have the mental fortitude to carve out their own legacies in the long shadow of the one who came before them. Beyond the exciting style of play, recruits are also drawn to a specific, less publicized aspect of the program: its culture. Current and former players consistently describe the Iowa program as a genuine family. In an era of transfer portals and transactional relationships in college sports, Jensen and her staff have fostered an environment of loyalty, support, and personal development. This focus on building well-rounded young women, not just great basketball players, resonates deeply with families during the recruiting process. It's a quiet advantage that doesn't make headlines but is crucial in securing commitments from players who are looking for more than just a stepping stone to the pros. Iowa's sudden rise to the top of the recruiting world has not gone unnoticed by the traditional powerhouses. Programs like UConn, South Carolina, and Stanford now find themselves in head-to-head battles for players who just a few years ago would have been considered locks. This has triggered a new arms race in recruiting, forcing established programs to adapt their pitches and reevaluate their strategies. Iowa's success has effectively disrupted the status quo, creating a more competitive and unpredictable landscape, which is ultimately a massive win for the entire sport of women's college basketball. The Caitlin Clark effect at Iowa has now become a case study for athletic departments across the country. It provided a definitive blueprint for how a single transcendent athlete, when properly supported and marketed, can elevate an entire university. Other programs are now desperately searching for their next Caitlin Clark, not just for on-court success, but for the transformative impact on viewership, enrollment, and alumni engagement. Iowa proved that with the right player and the right system, a program outside the traditional elite can become a national brand, a lesson that has sent ripples through the entire NCAA. Ultimately, the story of Iowa's post-Clark era is still being written. The arrival of McKenna Wiersbicki and potentially others marks the beginning of a critical new chapter. Will they successfully carry the torch and build upon the foundation, solidifying Iowa's status as a perennial powerhouse? Or will the immense pressure and expectations prove too much? One thing is certain: the whole world is watching Iowa City. Jan Jensen's honest admission was more than just a thank you to a former player. It was a declaration, a statement that the standard has been set, the expectations have been raised, and the Hawkeyes are ready for whatever comes next. The legacy of one player has given them this chance, and they don't intend to waste it.